is if you want to make a lot of money when you're young, fast, travel the world, do all that cool shit, don't go to fucking college. And please do not listen to your college teachers, your high school teachers, and probably your parents, dude. I'm going to tell you a story here in a second about how I defied this and why I give this advice. First, a little bit of proof. I'm going to get it up on my screen here. I'm recording my screen. This is my Commerce account. Shout out Commerce. They just did a rebrand. And you can see in the past 29 hours from July 23 at 11:18 a.m. all the way up to July 24, 2026 at 4:21 a.m. I'll even refresh the screen for you guys. You can see refreshing, bang, $66,467 USD in 29 hours. And I did that online here in America without taking a single phone call. Pretty crazy. Granted, it took me 10 fucking years to get here, but it's pretty nice where we're at. Have a look at this. We're in a beautiful park. We're here in Payne Park here. Final couple of days in America. Really beautiful spot. That's actually the skate park just there. Crazy beautiful day. And I'm testing out my new little Osmo camera here. So here's the story. So in Australia, we have high school. I think the equivalent in America is, I think it's maybe high school as well or something. In Australia, we have high school and then you go to university. So in America, I think you guys have a senior school and then you go to college. I think you guys have to pass an SAT, basically the big exam that everyone puts way too much fucking pressure on you to crush, that gives you a score that decides what university you can get into and what courses you can take, right? So one that people put all the pressure on. In Australia, it's called VC. You take VC exams. It's like this big exam on a wide range of subjects. You get an ATAR and then you go into university, right? So I was a dropkick smoking weed, but then I started studying somewhat relatively hard in year 11, which is year 12 is the final year when you're 18 or something. So year 11 and year 12 is your VCE years. So in year 11, I was trying really hard. And then I decided I did not want to go to university after high school. And so in year 12, I basically just started taking the piss. I started doing graffiti in class, not taking my studying seriously or whatever. And I was actually a mini school leader. So I don't know about your school, but at a lot of schools around here, the high school gets divided up into 4 houses. You've got the blue house or red house, kind of like Harry Potter, right? You got the 4 houses. And then on sports days, you compete against each other and shit like that. So I was a house leader. So I was the leader of our house because I was quite outspoken and liked giving my opinions on stuff. And I really liked leading, inspiring people from a young age, even though I didn't have much reason to. So I was doing that. And I remember it was the 2 or 3 weeks or 4 weeks even maybe before the final exams, okay? And everyone's studying their ass off, all the year 11, year 12s. Everyone's got this cloud over their head. Everyone's mildly depressed. Teachers are fucking cracking the whip, left, right, and center, stressing it out. This number's going to decide the rest of your life. Everyone's putting a bunch of pressure, right? All these adults, by the way, putting a fuckload of pressure on children, by the way. Nothing against teachers, but I wouldn't necessarily decide that teachers are the most qualified to decide how you should spend the rest of your fucking life, okay? I'm just going to put that out there on some controversial type shit. Anyway, so I was in English. Dude, my English teacher was a bitch, bro. Like, she fucking sucked. I'm sure she was a nice woman in her personal life. I'm sure I did some shit to piss her off. I was a bit of a smartass. Not much has changed. We were writing a practice exam or something. Everyone had their head down, head down, 2 hours writing this practice exam, silence, walking around. She's walking in between the aisles and shit. And I was doing graffiti on the top of my page. Like just drawing and stuff. I wasn't tagging up the score. It's just really like drawing. So I was drawing on my book and she walks past and she's like, huh, Lockie, that's interesting. You mustn't be doing your exams this year. Like she said, like a smart ass to me, like taking the piss. And she said it really loudly to, classroom involved or whatever. And she kind of said it and kept walking. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And dude, you should have seen this, bro. She paused like the exorcist. Her head spins around, bro, like those demon eyes. And she's like, what did you just say? And I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing my exams this year. And she like visibly flustered. She's like, she looks like who's the chick from Alice in Wonderland, the Queen of Hearts or something with the huge head that gets all red and shit. So she starts looking like that. And I start laughing. My friends are kind of laughing next to me because they have to do their exams because their parents were cracking down on them. Anyway, I'm like, I'm not doing my exams. So she's like, yes, you are. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do my exams. Like, I've decided I'm not going to go to university, so it's just a waste of my time. I'd rather just spend my time like drawing and stuff. And she's like, no, you're doing your exams. I'm like, I'm definitely not. And she's like, all right, I'm going to get the mini school teacher. I'm going to get the mini school teacher and we're going to have a chat. I'm like, all right, whatever. So she walks out the class. Everyone turns around. She's like, ooh, you're in deep shit. And I'm like, what's she going to do, man? But at the same time, low key, I was like a little bit worried, like, man, like she ain't going to do anything, man. I'm like, look, what's she going to do, man? Shit. You know? So she comes back. And so she comes back with, believe it or not, the vice president of the school. So it's like the adult, not the person, the vice principal. That's what it is. So basically the person who's like second in charge of the school. He's like, Lockie, come with me. Let's have a chat. So believe this or not, okay? I'm 18, 17 maybe. They bring me into, and I'm not saying this is the best I'm not the best example to be a role model. Okay, I'm just sharing my story. So they pulled me into like the principal's office, basically. They sat me down. There was the mini school leader. It's like an adult, okay? There's my English teacher, still a bitch with a bitchy face. There is the vice principal of the school, and there's my math teacher, because I had like a good relationship with my math teacher, okay? And so they sit me down, almost like on a similar table like this. I'm sitting here, they're sat there, and two there, okay? And they sit me down, they basically say, hey, look, Lockie, like, you have to do your final exams. You're setting an example for all of the kids, and you have to do it. And I'm like, listen, I know that I don't have to do my final exams. I appreciate that you guys want me to do that. I understand all those reasons, but I think I'm setting a pretty good example for kids who don't want to go to university and kids who want to do their own thing. And they're like, all right, then. All right. Like winking at each other and shit, leaning back in their chair, crossing their arms. So what is Lockie that you're going to do? If you've got this made, if you're not going to go and do your final exams, what are you going to do? I'm like, I want to be an entrepreneur. And they kind of laugh, right? They kind of laugh under their breath. Lockie, what do you mean you want to be an entrepreneur? And I'm like, well, I want to start my own business. My dad started his own business, and he told me that, you know, being an entrepreneur is good. I want to, you know, follow in his example. He said, then they started hitting me with a bunch of stats, like they dressed up as Wikipedia, some shit. Like they were Claude before Claude existed, right? They're like, do you know the percentage of businesses, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, listen, with all due respect, I don't think any of you guys are qualified to teach me this, because none of you guys are successful business owners. Like, I was a fucking smart ass. Like, it sounds cool to say this now. I was a little bit, I wasn't shitting my pants, but I was intimidated, man. I was an 18-year-old kid, 4 adults literally sitting me in a room, like telling me off. I was like in trouble. But like, I was standing on business, and that's the lesson of this video. It's to stand on business for your dreams, okay? So they basically said, look, Lockie, if you, verbatim, okay, this is the verbatim thing. If you don't complete your final exams and go to university, you're going to be nothing in life. Verbatim, that is what the vice principal said to me at 18 years old, surrounded by a stampede of, I'm not going to be rude, people who chose a different life path. And I've got nothing against being a teacher. I think we need teachers. I think school is a great path for a lot of people who don't have a better alternative. And if you want to become a doctor or a surgeon or study history, like go to university, go to college. It's a great path. I highly advise, if you don't know what you want to do, going to college and doing a basic degree in maths or English is probably better than becoming a dropkick, smoking weed, doing nothing every day, okay? But if you want to be more than average, if you want to believe in your dreams and achieve something bigger, do not listen to people who do not have the life for you. So I was like, well, respectfully, I disagree, right? I was like, my brother, he is the top salesperson for Ralph Lauren in retail, and he never went to university. We couldn't afford it. And he makes more money than any of you guys make. Wow, such a smart. I should have been hit, realistically. But yeah, that's kind of the story, man. So I just didn't show up. I didn't show up. They try to guilt trip me. They try to say that if I don't go, then all the kids below me are going to take that as an example to become dropkicks. They try to guilt me that if I don't go, it's going to bring down the average score for my class, which I'm sure it did. And I apologize, but I don't regret it. And I now am fortunate enough, after a very long period of time, to be able to make a lot more than their annual salary in 29 hours at the age of 27, traveling around the world. I was just fucking riding a skateboard at a skate park today, right? In a 1,000,000-degree heat. So what's what would I tell myself back then? I would say, good job, dude. Stand on business for your dreams. And I'm really lucky and fortunate that I had that much conviction in myself at that age, because my friends didn't. They didn't want to go to college. They didn't want to go to university, but their parents forced them to. But their parents don't have what they want. Oh man, the teachers don't have what you want. Not even close. If you look at the way that most teachers like respond to children, they are hardly qualified to be deciding how people spend the rest of their lives, right? And so I'm not telling you how to spend the rest of your life. I'm just saying at the age of 18, when literally a whole bunch of adults who were supposed to be the authorities on what I should do for the rest of my life sat me down and said, Lockie, you'll be nothing. You'll be nothing if you don't go to university. And I stood on business and said, fuck that. I'm going to do what I want. And I started learning how to make money online. And I failed for a really long time. I promise you I failed more than you have watched this video. I promise you that. I tried everything, man. Had the filthiest drop shipping stores, man. Had the crazy fucking... Dude, this is how you know I was in the trenches. I had the free plus shipping $5 cat rings. I still have the ads that I whipped up in Photoshop somewhere deep in my laptop. It was like a $5 cat ring you could buy on AliExpress for like 60 cents. And I would get people to pay, I'd say market it as free. It was on like the Shopify. This is before Shopify was a big thing, by the way, way back in the day. And I'd try and drive traffic to it and get sales. And I got some sales, but I didn't even put the thought towards the math. I just heard people on YouTube say, yeah, run $5 a day Facebook ads, man. You know, get a purchase for $2.50. That means you're doubling your money, making $2 profit per cat ring, sell 100 cat rings a day. Bang, $200 a day in profit. And I'm like, dude, $200 a day, that'd be fucking nuts. I would be dripping if I was making $200 a day, dude. And so I failed at that for a really long period of time. Made some sales, but you can't make a profitable business on a $2 margin on cat rings. Especially when half the cat rings never show up because you're ordering it from some Chinese meth lab over the other side of the planet, right? Anyway, so yeah, I went on a long path and then I got to where I'm at today, which is going to Colombia in a few days here now. Super excited for that next chapter. I've done a fair amount. I've done a lot of grinding. You know, I definitely don't think I'm well traveled by any means compared to a lot of people my age, but in the past 12 to 16 months, I've been to Koh Samui, Thailand, Koh Phanang, Thailand. Beautiful, beautiful place, by the way. I highly recommend it. Where else we got? Bangkok, Singapore, Bali, Gili, Lombok. Those are in Indonesia. Dubai, Saudi Arabia. That was really cool. Abu Dhabi. Where else? Trying to think. There's been some shit places like Kuala Lumpur. Fuck, that sucks. You guys saw that video. Man, I'm really struggling now. New York, Florida. Just got back from Miami. Now about to go to Colombia, Medellin. And then after that, probably going to come back to Miami. So, and that's honestly me trying to not travel really as much as I can because I don't really like traveling. It's a huge pain in the ass, but I can do that now. And, you know, 66,000 USD. Let me run the conversion. I know you guys aren't Australian, but this is a sore spot for me. $66,467 USD to AUD. See what that is. And this isn't a flex on the teachers. I mean, kind of is. But like, I'm not trying to flex on them. Like, if any of the teachers reached out to me, I'd give them some life advice. But no, for real, they're like, I am very grateful for, okay, here we go. $95,181 USD. What is the average teacher's annual salary in Australia? The annual salary in Australia for a teacher is $90,177 according to Glassdoor. At the time of recording this, I made more in 29 hours than my teachers make in a year. And that year is a brutal, brutal year. The cool thing is, it's probably not going to, like, granted, that was a one-off day, but it's happening relatively regularly, and it's only going to get higher. Whereas, like, as a teacher, not only do you earn less, not that everything in life is about money, but we're just talking about money, aren't we? But it's kind of fixed, dude. Like, it's kind of fixed. Like, you may get a 10% bump, and then 3% of that's going to inflation anyway. But to put a pin in it for you young hustlers out there who aren't officially unk status, like I feel like at this skate park, stand on business for your dreams. And I'm here to give you permission that you don't need any evidence yet to do it. Despite how stupid your parents, your friends, your teachers may try to make you feel for believing that shit's possible, you don't need any evidence yet. You just have to believe in it. And then one day it'll happen.